We are back at the University of Coventry in the United Kingdom in search of fully funded graduate opportunities. For the opportunities at this university, you can move directly from a bachelor's degree to a PhD. So, for most opportunities we'll be looking at today, you do not need a master's qualification. Yes, it is true that about 2 months ago we looked at opportunities at this same university, but I'm happy to announce that they have updated their database of scholarships. In the ones we looked at previously, the deadlines were in February and March, but now most of the deadlines are in April and May, as we'll see together. So, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're coming for the first time, where have you been? There are different opportunities on this channel. We'll talk about fully funded masters and PhD opportunities from all around the world. So take a look around the channel and try to subscribe because I'm sure you'd like the materials that we share here. So if you're returning, thanks for coming back and thanks for the support. And I hope you get one scholarship as soon as possible. So let's rush back to Coventry, shall we? So first, let's take a look at the English language requirements. So quickly, a number of international universities require you to submit like English language test. But I'm happy to announce that if you studied already in the English language, that's if you did your bachelor's in the English language, if you studied with English as the language of instruction, you might not need to submit any English language test. I think it's written here some of the other alternative exams accepted in lieu for like the IELTS or TOEFL or other professional English language exams. So here I can already see the WIAC exam. This exam is usually taken by secondary school students in West Africa. So check for your own country. Probably you also have an English language waiver. So good news for those coming from either India or from West Africa. If you have this qualification already, as most of you might already do, you do not have to write any of the English language test because it's important to clarify this um, because your whatever course you're applying for would require you to submit proof of English language proficiency. So it's good you clarify that even before you go to any of the funded opportunities. So we have a very long list here. I think there are 33 fully funded opportunities for both international students and home students. So you can see them here. They're in different departments, different faculties. You can use the filter function here to choose the faculty you want, or just type here on the search bar. Another interesting thing I have found about these scholarships is that there are some, what do they call them? There are some exchange programs between Coventry University and Daikin University in Australia. So it means if you get into that program, you will do your course partly at Coventry, maybe let's say 1 or 2 years at Coventry, and then move to Daikin in Australia for another opportunity. So this is like one of them here. And all of it is just fully funded. You don't have to pay for anything. The university will cover that for you. So these are some of the opportunities here. So pay attention to them and check for your own area of specialization because what applies for one department might not apply for another department. So look at this one for instance. It talks about diabetes prevention. So let's use it as an illustration. So diabetes prevention, you can see here clearly stated UK international students, EU students. You can see here it covers bursary, that's like your stipend, and tuition, both for international students, UK students, EU students. So that's clear. So it's a full-time course, 3 years or 3.5. And the deadline is the 27th of May. There's going to be an interview for those shortlisted, and this is the professor in charge. So smart students now will go and Google this professor or just click on this link and see what the professor is working on. So this link leads actually to his or her email address. What I would do if I'm interested in this particular topic and this particular PhD project is that I'll go to this professor's page, so through Google search or something, and see what the professor is doing and see how I can align my application towards the professor's interest. Yeah. So that is it. And there is also an interesting brief on what this project is all about. So here it means there's already a project and the professor has already done the background work, and they just want you to come in here and show how you're interested in the project and show how you have the necessary background and experience for the project. You can see here it's fully funded PhD studentship. So let's scroll down a little bit more. Let's move my avatar a little. Yes, thank you. So you can see here that it requires just a bachelor's degree and 2-1 with a minimum of 60% in the project element. So if you wrote like a project or a dissertation in your bachelor's, you have to get a minimum of a 2-1 or of a 60% rather in your project. And then of course it talks about English language test as well here. We've talked about that already at the intro. And it says you should have the potential or the capacity, the endurance to um, be able to see your degree through. You have to have the capacity to undertake a 3.5 year degree. Of course, other skills such as communication skills, communication written skills, um, teamwork, and things like that are also needed. And there's a full gist here of what you need to do to apply. So it says here that you have to contact the professor. That's a good thing. And then you have to write a 2,000 word supporting statement showing your expertise in this area, showing your interest in this area. So, in case you need guidance on how to write a letter to this professor, there is already a video on this channel. Just scroll down a little, go to the tab with letter of motivation, statement of purpose. So, this videos here will help you on how to write that 2,000 statement. And the video here will help you to craft your letter to a professor. So, you got it here through and through this video on how to write a professor. These videos here will teach you how to write a statement of purpose. So, of course, this is just like an example. You can always check for other um, opportunities here that suit your interest. I think when I was looking at this page about yesterday or 2 days ago, I actually saw a fully funded PhD on dancing. So you do not know what you find in here. There are just several funded programs. This is on toxic masculinity, as you can see here. So those in the gender studies, those in sociology might be interested in this. And you have lots of course, practical sciences, and you have things in law, things in business. So dig out the opportunities relevant for you. So I talked about those opportunities in Australia as well, and we could take a look at them as well and see whether they are open. This is about aircrafts, and it's a partnership between Coventry University and Daikin University. Coventry in the UK, Daikin in Melbourne, Australia. So let's check as well. You can see here that the application is still open, and this is the deadlines, just like the other one, the 27th of May. Open for both international students and UK students. That's very similar like to the one we saw the other time. So, of course, there's also a brief introduction about what the project, the funding is all about. And you are meant to acquaint yourself with all this information. It will help you actually arrange your application. You can see here full fees, stipend, allowances. So that's great. And it also talks about the partnership between Coventry University and Daikin University. So it's important to also know how to use these things for your advantage. So those who often get these scholarships are often those who pay attention to these bits of information and see how they can use it to tweak the application to support the information already provided on this page. So do not just rush to submit your application, but rather sit down and digest the information and see how you can use this information to shape the application you put forward. So this information will help you shape, for instance, the 2000 statement of purpose or the letter you send to the supervisor to show your interest in this funded opportunity. So there you go. This also talks about a 2-1, and this actually requires a master's. But the first one we looked at did not require a master's. So this one actually talks about a master's. So that's why I talked about the variation among different courses. So one course might require this, another course might not require that. So it's good to have that in mind while you apply. And let's look at another one before we go quickly. Let's look at this one on masculinity, toxic masculinity. Okay. So this one is open as usual. UK students, international students, EU students. You can see also fully funded. Also 27th of May, just quite similar to what we've looked at before. And of course, you can also check the requirements as well. This just talks about a bachelor's, a 2-1, getting 60% at the minimum in your undergrad project. And then I'm ready to study for 3.5 years, have sufficient English language proficiency to undertake the study. And of course, contact the professor and then also come up with this 2,000 word statement. And I think you need to contact the professor with this statement. So you're not contacting the professor empty-handed. I think it's also a good idea to send your CV, a cover letter, and then the cover letter is contained in that video on how to approach a professor, and then attach this 2,000 word statement. Just send it all these documents directly to the professor, and keep your fingers crossed for the best. If possible, if you have a copy of your transcripts as well, send it. And so the professor will have an overview of your qualifications, your strengths, and probably your weaknesses as well, and then take a decision on whether to move with you or not. And I hope this was useful, guys. Fully funded opportunities at the University of Coventry. As I said, I found a position on dance. um, I think 2 days ago when I was checking these opportunities, and I found it very interesting. So, in case you're interested in dance, PhD in dance, fully funded, please also go for it. You can see here also fully funded, just like the previous ones. So, guys, here you go. So, I wish you good luck with your application. As usual, we cannot wait to celebrate you. There are already several opportunities here on my YouTube channel on fully funded opportunities from around the world. So, just sit down, follow the instructions, and we'll see you at the top sooner than later. Bye bye for now, and do not forget to subscribe.